Hello, and welcome to Round Glass. My name is Tatum Barnes, and thank you for joining me for the first session on my series on finding a sense of belonging. This is a meditation for children, for teenagers, for anyone who used to be a teenager. We come here and now to sit together, regardless of age, to practice coming home to ourselves, honing that sense of, I belong here, wherever we go. Now, I hope that by the end of this meditation, by the end of this series, that everyone can have that sense that there's a home there for them, that it's an ultimate blessing that you get to be you, precisely who you are. Unfortunately, this feeling doesn't come naturally, and it certainly didn't for me. Before we go forward with any other little tidbits about this meditation or about how I've learned this lesson, I would love to hear from you. So if you feel so moved, please, in the chat, let me know, where on earth do you feel home? It can be geographic or something else. I know that I feel home in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from. I feel home in Long Island, where my family has a summer house. That's very special to me. I also feel home on any shoreline. Anywhere that the sea meets land, I feel home. I already see some responses. I see people feel at home, feel like they belong in the ocean, at my piano, in my grandparents' cottage. I definitely knew that some grandparents' house or room would make an appearance here, and under a starry sky. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And like I was saying, I want everyone to feel like that it's a blessing to be themselves. Unfortunately, that's not so easy to do so. I also have to admit, I haven't been a teenager in many years now. It's been a while, but I can recall that when I was a teenager, I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere beyond maybe Brooklyn and a special shoreline. I remember going to college in rural Massachusetts and feeling so out of place in almost any demographic. And in a sleepy little valley where felt like there were more cows than people, it was terrible. And I know that the feeling of wanting to disappear when I entered a room was almost overwhelming. What I wish I had known was that I was always at home because I had never left Earth. It feels so silly to say, but I feel like that's part of my message to you all here and now, is that we all belong right here on planet Earth. And so long as we maintain our connection to the planet beneath our feet, we're never going to feel lost or less than, and we'll always have a place. I feel like belonging has a lot to do with knowing our place. Well, our place is right here on the planet. What I hope to do in this meditation is remind us of the source, the resources rather, that exist beneath our feet, to invite a little bit of extra awareness to where we make contact with the ground beneath us, and to bring some of those resources up into our bodies and into our hearts. We're going to settle in with some gentle breath work. We're going to put our day behind us, and we're going to use our imagination. And if you haven't used your imagination or you haven't visualized in a long time, don't worry. It is an innate human capacity. Yours will work, even if we have to blow the dust off of it just a little bit. So no worries. Whether this is your first meditation or your millionth, we're going to be going step by step, breath by breath, and I'll be with you every step of the way. So without any further ado, let's settle in. Give your body permission to do whatever it needs to do to relax. If shoulders need to be rolled around, ooh. If your neck needs to be rolled, if knuckles need to be cracked, if that itch needs to be scratched, you do anything and everything now. If the belly feels constricted, you can take off the belt, loosen the buttons. When you feel comfortable in your body, I invite you to take your meditation posture, whether you're on a cushion or in a chair or wherever, finding a nice long spine, but relaxed. I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, or to take a nice, soft gaze somewhere out in front of you. and begin to breathe normally through your nose. Slowly beginning to align your awareness with your breath. You watch it move in and out of your nose, or perhaps the rise and fall of your chest. However you find your breath here and now, see if you can make it a little bit deeper. Feeling the belly begin to inflate. Beautiful. As we breathe deeply, let's give our minds an opportunity to digest. So, please, if you will, imagine and visualize everything that you've already done and accomplished today, this day. Not judging or getting too into the weeds, simply remembering, turning the pages on the storybook of your day, letting all of the memories and images move to the back of your mind. One by one, tapping the moments and sending them on their way. At your own pace, gently bring your awareness to where your body makes contact with the ground beneath it. Breathing deeply, sensing into ankles and sit bones, feeling the subtle pressure of the ground beneath you pushing up at you, holding you in place. As your focus begins to wander, you gently bring it back. As you think about what's next in your day or whatever stray thought crosses your path, you bring yourself back, watching your breath, feeling the ground beneath you. Simply sitting here for a few more breaths, focusing and refocusing. Beautiful. It is here that I invite you to use your imagination to see and visualize. Now, this might seem a little silly, but picture yourself wearing a pair of red boots, moving with whatever your imagination gives to you. First and foremost, see them clearly on your feet. And violet is an option if red is not your color. But see the details of these boots, from the sole to the laces if they exist, giving our imagination a tune-up. Any boots will do. Well done. From your red or violet boots, I invite you to imagine roots of that same color beginning to spread from your boots. See those red or violet roots beginning to spread out on the floor in front of you. Imagine them getting larger as they move away from your boots, and begin to see them in your mind's eye pushing past the floorboards. Watch your roots push past the basement, past the cement, past the concrete, past anything below, past the pipes, and send your roots into the earth. Watching them move past rock and stone and dirt, allow them to continue growing larger and larger, until they are the size of a small car, if you can imagine it. Huge roots beginning to move into the earth. You breathe deeply and continue to watch your roots move deeper and deeper. Moving deeper still. As your thinking mind interjects, you continue to move your focus back to this image, to this vision. Using sounds from the external world to push you deeper within this inner landscape. Moving into the details of your roots, pushing past soil, past rock. See it clearly. Make it real. Tunneling. Focusing and refocusing a few more breaths. Beautiful. Imagine your roots moving all the way to the very center of the earth. A giant ball of energy that you can visualize as yellow, orange, or red. Allow your roots to stop just before the core and just witness its immensity for a moment, taking a deep breath in. Seeing it clearly in your imagination. Feeling the heat, feeling the magnetism. And we are going to let it magnetize us further. So no longer are we tunneling, but feel that magnetic pull from the core. Pull your giant roots deeper still. Letting the earth pull you closer until the roots are moving directly into the core. Seeing them become anchored there. Finally taking root themselves. Every single last root finds its home right here. And gently shift your awareness back to your physical body, where it makes contact with the ground beneath it, keeping with you that sensation of being tethered and held. A few breaths here as you explore the sentiment, noticing how the body might have changed, if it feels any different now that it is grounded, rooted. Beautiful. I invite you to recall the color of the core, whatever your imagination gave to you. We're going to take that color and we're going to imagine it coming from the ground and moving into our toes. Seeing that color clearly in our mind's eye, we breathe it in, sending it through the arches of your feet and inviting it into your ankles. We pause here and we collect any tension or stress that may be living in our ankles. We do so with our intention, thinking to ourselves, I'm collecting the stress in my ankles. And with our awareness, we can move around the joint, scraping the sides, collecting any tension that may be stuck there. You search it out, you hold it. Calling it forth. There it is. And with your next exhale, you let that drop. Feeling the tension rush out of the feet and into the earth, through the roots, gone. See and visualize and make real that color of the earth moving through your open ankles, through your shins, through your calves, and breathe it into your knees and beneath your kneecaps. Once more, we spread ourselves here, collecting the stress and anxiety in the joint, but also the sadness, the heaviness, the grief that the body may be holding. We call it forth with our intention, and we scour the knee with our awareness. Visualizing that color from below in the kneecaps, cleansing, renewing. Holding the tension. And with a big exhale, you let it drop. Letting it all go. Letting it rush out of the legs, through the roots, and gone. Well done. We continue to let this energy from below rise through our knees, through our thighs, letting the color, the energy massage the muscles that move us on this planet. We breathe it into our hips and into our pelvis. And for the last time, we spread ourselves here, collecting the stress in this part of the body, and also any frustration, any annoyance or anger that may be building in the body. We listen to it now, calling it forth and letting it grow. Gathering and regathering, extending your awareness into all the nooks and crannies. letting it build. And as it reaches its peak, you let it all go. Letting everything, all the tension, rush out of the legs. You hold on to nothing. You let it all go. A deep breath. Watch as that color from below, from the earth, rises through your soft belly, through your sternum, and breathe it into your heart center, just a finger or two above the sternum in the middle of the chest. A deep breath in. See and feel that color, that energy from the earth begin to fill the heart. Not the physical organ to the side, but rather this energetic, metaphorical heart center. A few more breaths here. Focusing and refocusing. Breathing into the heart, watching the breath. As tension arises, as resistance arises, you let that drop through your well-formed root system, continually draining all that detritus, all that tension down and out. Beautiful. And as we begin to wrap up our meditation, I invite you to plug in a thought that may seem obvious, but notice how it makes your body feel. I invite you to think to yourself, think into your heart, I belong here on earth. Thinking the thought, breathing, and as the mind begins to wander, bringing it back to that thought. I belong here on earth. Well done. Gently shift your awareness now to fingertips and toes, giving them a little wiggle. Moving into wrists and ankles, letting the body begin to stir and wake up. Letting it take those natural movements as you find yourself back in your room, back in your space. And when you're ready, you open your eyes and welcome back. As we transition from meditation, we always want to move slow and gently as to keep that sensation with us and also to explore the subtle difference in the before and after picture. So thinking about how you started the meditation and how you feel now, has the body-mind system changed? I know that my belly is a little bit softer. I feel a little bit more relaxed. I feel that my heart and voice seem a little bit more regulated. And I hope that you find the same sense of calm and balance. With this meditation and all meditations, I would love to hear from you. So if you have any questions about meditation specifically, this one or in general, please ask them in the chat below. If you have any comments about things that were challenging or weird or beautiful or otherwise noteworthy at all, please, I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, I will give you one little wisdom gem that I wish I had when I was awkward, full of social anxiety, wandering around high school and college, not knowing where to put my body. Something that I've realized as I've done this meditation, as I've strengthened my connection to the earth, is that we can follow our feet. It's perhaps a little counterintuitive because there aren't a lot of brains in our feet, but more often than not, they take us in good places. If we don't know where to go, we enter a room and we just don't know where to put our bodies, what I would recommend, and please try it out if it doesn't work for you, whatever, that's fine. But what I've found to be successful for me is I drop my awareness into my feet. I even can pretend that I have my red boots on, and I let them take their steps. More often than not, they lead me in a direction that I want to be. They lead me to a person that I want to talk to. They lead me to a situation that I would rather be in than the other one. And my feet always know when to leave a party. Even if I'm having a good time, if my feet start to walk me out that door, well, it's time to go. So please, my friends, trust your feet. They are more intelligent than we know. It's not really the feet, but it's that connection to the earth. When we tap into that connection, we are led into good places, and we walk into the places that we belong. I have one question for you, for myself. Any tips for a sense of home and belonging during the pandemic? It's a great question, because our sense of home is radically different. It's been disrupted in a significant way. It's a great question, so let me just tap in so I can give you a great answer and not something off the cuff. Well, it seems selfish, but I would invite you to continue turning into my series on belonging, because I think my thrust with this series, what I really want to teach you all, is that in order to keep belonging no matter the circumstances, because the physical universe will continue to be weird and crazy and oscillate and change, the best thing that we can do is learn how to cultivate that sense of belonging with ourselves. So we're always going to have the earth beneath our feet. We're always going to have our hearts in our chests. So if we're able to learn how to belong unto ourselves, to feel at home in our bodies, wherever we take them, then even when pandemics arise and even when things are crazy, we're going to feel good. Now, maybe more specifically about the home, I'm inspired by places on earth that I feel home. I would encourage you to find what sort of environment you feel home in. For me, it's the shoreline. For you, it may be a pond or a forest, but you can always spruce up your home with a picture of that environment, or even a nice screensaver might do the trick. So those are my two pieces of advice for you. And as this is a session for teenagers and for those of us still in school, I'm obligated to give a little bit of homework until I see you all again. And even if you are no longer in school, I encourage you to take a little homework with you. And like any good teacher, I've not prepared. So let me think, what would be a good homework assignment for you all? Continue to put on your red boots, y'all. It is a silly exercise, but it's great for tuning up your imagination, and it's great for cultivating that sense of connection to the earth. When I was living in New York City, I put on my red boots every day before I left the house. No exaggeration. With a busy city like New York City, there are so many forces and opportunities to get me off balance. Just a little bit of consciousness in the morning to be like, hey, I'm connected to the earth. I'm going to think about my feet. It saved me a lot of stress and hassle. It allowed me to stay grounded, stay balanced, so that if something were to knock me off my feet, like a rude person or a bike that almost hit me, I can keep my center. I can keep my belonging unto myself. I can keep my connection to my best self. So as you work on carrying the sense of belonging with you wherever you go, see if you can do so with your red boots. And if you were curious, I had some sweet snakeskin boots on for this session. So, just letting everyone know. And with that, I will say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me for another session. I encourage you to follow me on my profile to practice this session again, or to see when I'm going live next, and to see when my course drops soon. And until next time, stay grounded and stay blessed. Peace.